All right, everybody. Good afternoon. A little bit later in the afternoon now on this Sunday. The Seahawks had a practice today, and we got a lot of good information out of the session today, particularly when it comes to one key player on the defense. And we're going to go ahead and lead with this one because, first of all, it's the biggest news of the day. And second of course, I made a video a few hours ago talking about this situation under the assumption that we were not going to be that close to anything new. Well, probably 30 minutes before that video went live, we got something new. So if anybody was wondering, yes, the video I posted a couple hours ago was pre-recorded. Yes, it was done. It was actually recorded late last night, very late. Well, I should say very early this morning would be more accurate, when we hadn't heard this yet. So the information in that video is a little out of date, but yes, Uchenna Nwosu has passed his physical as of earlier this morning. He is ready to, at the very least, do football-like activities on a football field. Great news there. He's very important to us this season. His value is clear, and the need for us to have him out there consistently is also there. We do not have somebody who can just completely take over Uchenna Nwosu's role effectively this season. We do not have the depth to be able to survive not having Nwosu this season. So, great news. Awesome stuff. We got more to say about this. Before we get into that, though, please click the thumbs up button on this video. Subscribe if you're new. Click the bell for notifications. Become a channel member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to support the channel. Now, understand, this takes Nwosu off the PUP list. This takes him off the list where he just can't do anything. And Greg Bell outlines it pretty good here in this tweet when he talks about how this is the next step in his return to practice. This does not mean he can practice in full yet. In fact, he even posted a little clip of the kind of work that he's doing. Go watch it on his X account if you want to. But the point is, this is the first step in a process. This is not, he's ready to go now. This is not, he's ready to play NFL football at his highest possible level yet. This is going to still be something that gets brought through over the next month, probably, maybe even a little bit more. And to get an idea of how long this process might take to play out, we did get a little bit more information from the coaches after this practice was over. Dugar had this tweet with a quote from McDonald after practice was over on him potentially being back week one, because that's the question that we as Seahawks fans are really going to have right now. Is Nwosu going to be back for week one? It's probably too early to come to any conclusions, but we have a preliminary timetable around the beginning of the season. There's some checkpoints we've got to hit along the way. The first thing is doing individual drills, going through walkthroughs, staying sharp mentally. We've got to get through that first. So individual drills, going through walkthroughs, staying sharp mentally, that sounds a long way away from actually being able to play at a high level on an NFL football field. So don't be surprised if we get to week one and Nwosu's not ready yet. Don't be surprised if he's not completely done with this timetable by the time we get there. The interesting phrase from McDonald here is around the beginning of the season. So what he seems to be indicating, and Brady Henderson echoes that quote right here, around the beginning of the season, you can certainly count on him being ready to go within the first month of the season, I think. I feel pretty confident that we will see him within the first few games, but you might have to get through a couple of games without him. That is possible. Niners game, Steelers game, I think the Saints are right after that. Maybe. Just leave the door open. And even if he does play, what's he going to be able to do? He might not be able to slam the pedal down all the way to the floor and do all the things that we're used to Nwosu being able to do. And obviously that's fine. Whatever it takes to get him to the point where he can just go, that is what we want. That is ultimately the important thing here. Even if it means maybe losing a game we would have expected to win early in the season, the important part is having Nwosu for the more important parts of the season, which tend to come a little bit later. But don't be surprised if there's still a decision to make before this season starts, whether it's signing a low-level free agent veteran, whether it's making a little bit of a trade, whether it's finding somebody currently on this roster who can be an adequate stopgap for maybe 20 snaps a game at most while Nwosu is working his way back. And of course, this all comes on the same day where the Trey Hendrickson situation in Cincinnati kind of gets a little bit more amplified. We had this from Pelissaro earlier. The Bengals are listening to trade offers for Trey Hendrickson. No deal is imminent, but he is available for the right price. Now, again, this is not something I'm super enthused about doing. It is kind of interesting to think about. It's an option. And I don't think this is the most effective option. I don't think that Hendrickson is going to be worth what we give him if we have him in this deep of a rotation. I don't know if he's a great fit for McDonald's defense. I think he's an okay fit. I don't know if he's an ideal fit. But these are the things that this team needs to think about. And look, if you acquire Trey Hendrickson, you might be sending out one of your young edge rushers anyway. You can make it work. But if you are looking at a couple of weeks without Uchenna Nwosu, these are the things you got to think about. Is it going to be Clowney? Is it going to be Parsons? Is it going to be Ivy? Is it going to be Tyreek Smith? Is it going to be this guy or that guy or the other guy? A lot of decisions to make here. And while Hendrickson is not my favorite, he's part of the conversation. Okay, moving past the Nwosu stuff, some other things that came up from the post-interview practice. Torrey Horton didn't practice today because of an ankle injury. McDonald says it doesn't appear to be serious. So it's not nothing, right? It's not nothing. It seems like it's a little more significant than initially let on, but it doesn't seem like it's going to ultimately matter. It's not like Horton was fighting for his roster spot. He's obviously going to make the team. And even if Horton doesn't do much over the next couple weeks, we just kind of have to be real about something at this point. There's a lack of interest in getting Marquez Valdes-Scantling anything right now. And maybe that's just because they feel super comfortable with him. But I think there's a very good chance that it's because they've already kind of decided that he's either not going to be playing a big role in this offense right now, or he's not even going to be here. I don't know, but it sure seems to me that Horton has already done what he needs to do. So if he needs to sit out for the next few days, I'm not worried about that at all. So be it. And, excuse me, it's no reason to believe that he'll be anything other than 100% ready to go for the Frisco game. More stuff with the offensive line for McDonald. McDonald said they're getting close to settling us on a starting five on the O-line. I think that it's pretty clearly, and I made a video about this earlier today, so you guys kind of already know where I stand on this. It's pretty clearly about one particular starter on that five. I don't think there's any debate anymore on the tackles or the guards. It's all about that center spot. Obviously, Oluwatimi is still part of the conversation at center, even if Sundell may have usurped him. It is worth noting, and Dugar tweeted about this as well, Oluwatimi did do some practice today, so he is back. He has a chance to get back onto the field as that starter going forward. We have one preseason game left. The guy still has a good chance. And I do think that generally speaking in sports, in the NFL, in pretty much anything, there is hesitancy to have a guy lose their starting job because they got hurt. And if there's a sense that Oluwatimi only lost this job because he got hurt, then I do think that he's got a real chance to win it back if he gets back on the field now. And the fact that he practiced today is certainly encouraging. But it is worth noting, not that this is surprising, that Sundell remained practicing with the ones today while Oluwatimi worked with the backups. Maybe that's a sign of things to come. Maybe that's just because Oluwatimi's not 100% yet. I don't know. But this is a difficult decision. I don't think this is an easy one. Some people are going to say it is. I don't think that it is. I think this is going to be a tricky call to make. And I understand why they feel the need to push it to the final minute. I understand why they want to see this last preseason game first. More injury stuff. This one's concerning Tyrice Knight. Dugar tweeted here, we're going to get some more information in the next few days to get more clarity on his return timeline. Very vague, very unclear, and pretty concerning, honestly, because we need him. I know he's not the best player in the world, but he's good, and I think he's significantly better than whoever's going to play behind him. Probably Drake Thomas at this point. I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned here, and I'm going to be concerned until he gets back out there. Now, the good news is McDonald did indicate that he was optimistic about Knight being ready for week 1. Not that that really means anything substantial, but we know that McDonald is kind of a straight shooter. This is not a Pete Carroll situation where he's overly optimistic in all situations. McDonald is a guy who will give it to you a little bit more honest. He will be a little bit more forthcoming when talking about injury stuff. So when he says optimistic, I think that means you should at the very least assume that the odds are higher than 50-50. And that still may not be great. It might be 58-42, but it's still more likely the good than bad. Now, again, the question will be, maybe he'll be ready to play. Is he ready to play well? Less clear. Well, we won't know that until we get there, though. Again, for those of you who may have forgotten, Tyrice Knight is dealing with a knee injury that didn't sound like a big deal, but he has an undisclosed separate medical issue that is not an injury that the team is not really talking about, except to say that it is something that is affecting him. People have tossed out their theories as to what it could be. I don't know what it could be. It's tough to put your finger on that one. That's could be some pretty weird ones right there, but I'm not going to speculate. So that's what's going on with Tyrice Knight. Moving past that, Ken Walker practiced today, and the plan is for him to play against Green Bay, or excuse me, practice against Green Bay, because we have the cross practice, the practice against the Packers coming up here. So it'd be more accurate to say he's going to practice against Green Bay. Either way, this is good news. I don't think that he's really hampered by an injury so much as he is just kind of taking it easy, because we're trying to preserve him for when the games really matter, because we know he's a little more on the delicate side. But he's on the field right now, or he was on the field earlier today, and there's every reason to believe he will be there for us in this final preseason game if we want him, and he will be out there for the joint practice. Now, whether or not we even want him out in that last preseason game, I'm not so sure. It's not like he needs it. It's not like he's going to benefit tremendously from preseason reps at this point, I don't think, especially if the joint practice is physical enough. McDonald did talk a little bit about the punt return touchdown that the Seahawks gave up in the preseason game, which was definitely the worst part of that game, and maybe, arguably, the only true negative in that game. I would say anything else negative from that game was nitpicking. This is not nitpicking, though. Here's what he said. This isn't a cop-out, but it's execution. What we're asking these guys of is very clear. We're not doing anything crazy right now schematically, and we have to be able to get runners down and get off blocks and make plays and not get field positions flipped on us. Translation, it's not Jay Harbaugh's fault. It's the player's fault. That's basically what this quote is saying. I don't know how I feel about that. It certainly could be true, and I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying that McDonald is wrong. In fact, McDonald is probably on some pretty significant level correct. But I'm going to say it again. We had different players last year, and Harbaugh was still the coach. This year, we have the opportunity to get new players, to swap out players, to find players that are better after last year's pretty messy special teams. And if we're still having the same problems, I have a little bit of a harder time blaming coaches. I got to admit that I understand that coaches typically stick up for coaches, and McDonald is certainly going to stick up for a guy like Jay Harbaugh because of the there's a connection there, right? It's not a huge connection. They're not literal family members, but there's a connection there, and McDonald probably had a big say in keeping Harbaugh here for 2025. But This is McDonald saying it's a player problem. It's an execution problem. And I don't know. I'm not saying it's wrong, but what I would say is that that argument loses some weight with me once you get to the point where you've had an off season to address the problems from last year if the problems continue to happen. One final thing, this is from Dugar on his podcast that he does. He what's it called? Man to Man. Yeah, Seahawks Man to Man. He basically said, and this kind of echoes what I was talking about in the video yesterday, Drew Lock is firmly the number 2 quarterback, barring an injury or trade. The tweet outlining this specific point from the podcast is from Danshu, fun guy on X, by the way. But that obviously wasn't the topic of the entire podcast, but it was one of the things touched on, and it sounds like it's pretty settled, and it makes sense. I support it. I like it. I think it's the correct decision to make. But again, there were Seahawks fans out there who seemed to be anticipating Milroe was going to take the number 2 and Locke was going to be gone. And I never thought that was in play no matter what happened in the preseason. And I certainly didn't think it was going to be in play after that Chiefs game. But just to kind of lay things out on the table here, Drew Lock is going to be on this team, and we're going to carry 3 quarterbacks. We're obligated to. We have to give Milroe the best chance to succeed in this league. Even if he doesn't have a tremendous chance of succeeding, even if it's like a lottery ticket, even if it doesn't work out, we still have to do everything we can to maximize his odds. And maximizing his odds involves not getting him on the field in a quarterback capacity right now. Okay. That's it for this video. That's all the information I got after practice today. Mostly good, mostly encouraging, not perfect, but it's not going to be perfect in football. Football's too violent of a sport. Okay, everyone have a great rest of your day. Go Hawks. I don't really have any highlight notes from today because I didn't see any. It was probably a pretty chill practice because we just had a game less than 48 hours ago. And that's probably it for today. Maybe another video, maybe not. Definitely going to be on Twitch later. Go Hawks. Have a great day.